Hey, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. It's Paul here from MageCloud, and I'm really happy to present our first webinar in this year. And we have a special guest today from Sleeknote, Morgans. I wanna tell everyone, MageCloud as a company, we're really actively using Sleeknote. My marketing managers, they so happy about how easy for them to run the pop-ups on our personal website. That was the reason why we decided to connect with the Sleeknote and bring you some value. So like in terms of quick introduction from my end, before Morgan can maybe share more information. So Sleeknote, I follow this company from the very beginning. I read an articles how they grow the business from 0 to 55K a month as a revenue, and now from what I know, 2.8 million revenue last year. I'm really also happy to say that we kind of colleagues with Morgan's. He's also about conversion rate optimization. And I know there is a lot of debates about pop-ups, if it's good or bad. So I used to tell to the clients that pop-ups, it's all annoying, but I know by myself now it's not really the truth. So let's welcome Morgans. I will pass over like presenter role to him, and we'll get started. So
Great. Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much for the introduction. Let's see. It seems like I'm the host now, so I'll see if I can share my screen so you can see my slides. Yes. I think this should be it. I'll see if I can move this and go in presenter mode. So I can't see the chat or see anyone now, but Paul, can you give me just a heads up if you can see my slides?
I can see your slides. Always good. Thank you.
Fantastic. That's good. Then I'll just kick off here. And so please unmute yourself and let me know if there's anything or it's lacking or you can't hear me or stuff like that. Otherwise, I'll just begin. And then if you got any questions, I would love to answer them after the presentation here. There is some time for that. So please just write in the chat. You can do that throughout the presentation and I'll go through those questions afterwards. Yes, so what I'll be talking about today is Popup Best Practices 2021. And very shortly about my position here, I'm CEO and co-founder of Sleeknote. And actually, I won't tell that much about Sleeknote today. I don't think that's that interesting. I would rather tell about use cases and best practices, but very shortly about Sleeknote, we are a SaaS business. And with Sleeknote, you can create non-intrusive and personalized pop-ups on your website. So you can get more email subscribers, increase sales, create surveys, and so on. But a lot more about these use cases later on. The agenda today, first of all, I'll present some data and best practices. So that's data across all our customers. We got a bit more, I think we just crossed 2,000 active paying customers last month. So we got quite a lot of data and we have pulled out some best practices from that. Then I'll present some use cases. And in the end, there is an offer. So please don't leave the webinar here. You get a great offer in the end, and then we can take questions. Yes, best practices with data from around 10 billion visitors. The first best practice here is that pop-ups with images converts a lot better than pop-ups without. So if you're completely new to pop-ups, you don't have any pop-up on your website yet, but you want to have one, then just this one fact that if you show an image within your pop-up, you will almost double your conversion rate. At least that's what we see across our customers. So, and of course, you can be very kind of creative with images. I apologize. Some of my cases here today are in Danish. It's because we got quite a lot of customers from Scandinavia. But in this case, it's a cleaning company where they have kind of put this form within a picture frame in this pop-up here. Next best practice, and that is when to show this pop-up on your website. We got different triggers within Sleeknote, so you can trigger it. For example, the most used one is to trigger it based on time. So after X amount of seconds, And the sweet spot we see here across our customers is to show it after 8 seconds. That is where we see the highest conversion on average. So if you again are new to pop-ups, you have to create your first pop-up, then just start out with 8 seconds, and you will have probably a good start with a high amount of conversions. Next one here is a scroll trigger. So on some websites, for example, on category pages on e-commerce sites, it makes sense to show pop-ups based on how long you've scrolled down on the website. And the sweet spot we see here with highest conversions across our customers is at 37% scroll. So when you scroll down 37%, show your pop-up or your slide inbox or your sticky bar or whatever message you want to show. I guess the reason why this works is because it's not too intrusive. It's not like showing right away, and it's not too far down either. So if you're showing it when people are like 95% down on your website, they might never see it. So that's the sweet spot on scroll. Then another best practice is to use countdown timers. So across our customers, we see that conversions without countdown timers is around 3 to 4%, but with a countdown timer, it's as high as 8%, and that's actually an average number, so it's even higher sometimes. And countdown timers is these, again, this is in Danish, but it says here that finish your order today and you'll get a free bottle of Barossa Shirage. The offer ends in 9 hours and 10 minutes. So that's the countdown timer, countdown while you see the pop-up. So this kind of urgency element just works very well. So if you have a kind of campaign or a content where it makes sense to show this, try to test it out. Input fields, that's also another interesting thing. And as Paul said, I worked within conversion optimization as a consultant before I founded Sleeknote. And back then I always said that, if you add more input fields to a form or a lead form or pop-up, you will see lower conversions. But actually, this is not the case if you look at our data. So if we go from and look at one input field, we on average see a conversion at 3.2%. But then if we add another one, it actually increases a bit to 3.3%. I would say, well, see this as, it doesn't matter if you have 1 or 2 input fields. It's about the same conversion. So don't be afraid to show 2 input fields, for example, name and email in your pop-ups. But be very aware that if you add a 3rd one, you will probably see way lower or way fewer conversions. On general, we see that it drops from 3.3 to 1% when you add the 3rd one. So I think that's the main takeaway from this slide. And actually, we found this data about a year ago regarding input fields. Because of that, because we saw that the conversion dropped so much, and we knew that a lot of our customers wanted to collect more data, we decided to make a new feature that we call multi-step campaigns or multiple steps campaigns. It means that we collect data in several steps. So in this case, for example, we collect email address in the first step, and then we save that email address. And then just afterwards, we ask for more information. It could be name, interests, gender, birthday, zip code, or whatever information you want in your email platform. And across our customers, what we see here is that those who complete step number 1, 76% of those also complete step number 2. So that's way higher conversions than what you saw before if we ask for all of it in the first step. So you should definitely consider, if you want more information than just email name, consider asking for it in different steps so that you get into this kind of positive feedback flow. When you have said yes one time, it's just the likelihood is so much higher that we also say yes to the next step because we've already said yes one time. So just a little practical about this. If people in Sleeknote, if you create these kind of multi-step campaigns, if people don't submit data in the second step, we still keep the permission. So we still keep the information from the first step and we send that to your email provider. So it's actually kind of win-win here. You don't need them to complete step number 2 in order to get the permission. All right. That was some best practices across our customers. Now I will talk about use cases. And I have quite a lot of use cases, different use cases. So hopefully this is a kind of an inspiration catalog for you guys if you want to begin doing pop-ups on your own website. So probably some of them will not be relevant for you because it's not the kind of website you have, and some of them hopefully will be relevant. So I hope that you can get maybe 1 or 2 use cases from this that you think, well, this could be really interesting to test on our own website. So I'll go through them pretty quickly so that we will hopefully also have some time for questions afterwards. All right, the first one, discount, maybe later. So one of the most used cases for pop-ups is to show a pop-up and offer a discount. And you know, this is a good way of using pop-ups. So I won't say now that you should not use that. But an example here, for example, on Nelly.com, they are also showing a pop-up right away on the website. Get 15% off your first order. And it's okay. The problem here is that most people would just close this down right away because, you know, it's shown after 2 seconds to all visitors. So if you show a pop-up like this, then the problem probably is that people will get to the checkout flow and then now they want to get this discount, but they can't find this information anymore. So how we could solve this is to show the same pop-up, but instead of only having this join button, we could have another one that says maybe later. And then when we click on maybe later, we show a little teaser in the bottom of the website, down here on the right side, so that we can find the information again when it's relevant. So that's a pretty simple way to optimize this discount pop-up so people can find it again. Yes, next good use case, and also a very known one and a generic one, is guides and tips. So if you don't have any discounts you can show to your visitors, or you can offer your visitors, then figure out if you can create some kind of guide or some great content that people can, you know, that they find attractive, and then they can give you their email address, and then you can send this guide to them. This is an example from this garden dealer, where they have collected a lot of great tips about how you should look out for your flowers and stuff like that. And then you say yes to get these tips, and you send the guide. Another example here is from a shop where they sell tights, where it can be a bit hard to figure out which of these makes sense to buy. So here they just show, get the free guide to find the perfect tights, enter your email, get the guide now. This could also, we got quite a lot of customers selling like some more advanced kind of products where you need knowledge and information to make this buying decision. Then it could also make sense. Maybe it's not necessarily you need to get the email for them to get the guide. It could also just be with focus on, you know, forwarding them to this guide so that they will, you know, more of them will actually buy a product on your website. All right, next one, multi-step campaigns. You saw it before, but just an example of how it could look like in on a website. This is an example here with email in the first step and then gender in the next one. Another one here, again, I apologize, the text is in Danish, but I'll try and translate. Here they ask for name, email, and then gender in the first step. And then afterwards, when people click on the call to action, then they have the interests. So it could be CrossFit, cycling, yoga, or whatever it might be. This is a website that sells, you know, kind of fitness related products. So in here, it makes a lot of sense for them to know if people are much into fitness or running or CrossFit or whatever it is. So these multi-step campaigns are definitely worth testing out. All right. Getting truly personalized with Sleeknote site data. So about a year and a half ago, we implemented a new thing into Sleeknote that we call site data. And site data, with site data, it's so much easier to create really non-intrusive, really like intelligent pop-ups instead of just these generic one message to all. So what we do in site data is that we look at Google Tag Manager. We discovered that a lot of websites are using Google Tag Manager. And in Google Tag Manager, you often put a lot of information into what is called the data layer. So on e-commerce sites, a lot of websites are putting information about, you know, products in the basket. They put that in the data layer. For example, what price the products are, the total amount in the basket, stuff like that. So we look at this data layer, and based on that, we can trigger pop-ups and Sleeknote campaigns. So an example here is that if a visitor have a low amount in the basket, then we can show a pop-up like this, where it says, I will translate it, finish your order today and participate in the competition to win 1 out of 24 bottles of Barossa Girage. Finish my order now, it says here on the call to action. Then we'll show another message if there's a high amount in the basket. Then it could be, wait, finish your order today and get a free bottle of Barossa Girage. Yes, I want this bottle, finish my order today. So this is examples of what we call exit intent pop-ups. So when people have actually put something in the basket and they're about to leave the page because they, I don't know, will try to find it cheaper on a competitor's website, then we want to show this and kind of nudge them to finish the order. Another example here is people have added this KitchenAid machine into their basket and they're about to leave the page. Then we want to say, well, we can see that you have added this. We also love KitchenAid. Therefore, we want to provide you with this discount code so you can get 5% off on this KitchenAid machine. Another example here is a Danish company called Bauhaus. In this case, they look at if there are any products in the cart. And in that case, they want to show this pop-up where it says, do you need any help? We are ready to help you. Just call this number and we will help you figure out, whatever issues and problems you have. In our product, we set this up by saying basket contain product matches true, and then we show this pop-up. Another example here is that in this case, we look at how, again, what's the value in the cart, and then we say shop for, and then we actually have a merge tag in this pop-up. So it could say here shop for 500 crowns more or like $100 more, and you'll get free shipping. So here we actually merge this data to the pop-up. So it says specifically how much they need to shop for more to get free shipping. And as you can see here, this is a Bauhaus is kind of like a market where you can buy all these kind of big things for if you work in the garden or if you're I don't know, carpenter, stuff like that. So in this case, they actually want to show this only if the basket value is less than 3,500 Danish crowns, or it's greater than 2,999. So that they only show to those that are really relevant. They don't want to show it to customers who only have the basket for, I don't know, 100 Danish crowns. That is the same as around $20, because then it's just too far from the free shipping limit. So a really intelligent and personalized pop-up here. Another one is to show pop-ups based on whether or not it's members or if people have logged in. A lot of our customers are doing that as well. So you can just go in here, say, is it logged in? Is that false? Then we show this campaign. It's logged in true. Then we show another campaign.
Morgans, can I interrupt you for a second?
Sure.
Just so we're on the same page. Are you still sharing your slide with the KitchenAid 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure that it's not freeze, because the people are asking here in the chat. So it's all good.
Sorry, can you ask me that again?
Are you still sharing your KitchenAid 5?
No. I'm past that.
Can you try to maybe switch a couple of slides back and forth?
Can you see my screen now that I'm jumping back and forth?
No, it's still freeze on personalization for some reason.
I will see if I can stop my share and then reshare.
Yeah. Thank you guys for.
So do you see my screen now?
Yep. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, that good that you interrupted me. I went a bit further. So
it was not me. It was just our attendees who kind of sent the message. So that's cool. Yeah, I will put myself. Thank you guys for being active.
It's good that someone is listening.
Yeah. Someone is listening. I love it. Like.
Fantastic. Then I'll just go very, very shortly through the cases I just showed here. This one is where people have something in the basket and then they show this pop-up. Do you need any help? You can call this number. Then this is the one where we kind of embed or we merge the data that how much do they actually need to add to the basket to get free shipping, then we merge that input field, that data, into the pop-up, which is what they're doing here, and that's why it looks a bit weird. And this is the one with if it's members or not members. Yes. And this is where I came to. So just another example of doing this personalized. If you have a blog, a lot of online stores have blogs as well, where they kind of educate their visitors to what the products are about. In this case, we also have a blog, and in this case, we merge an image of the person who wrote the blog. We merge that into the pop-up, so we don't have to change it or make like specific pop-ups for each one. But we figure this out also based on this site data. And another one here, this is actually also from our own website. In this case, we merge the company name of the visitor. So if you visit sleeknote.com/pricing, you'll see a pop-up with me where it says, any questions about the prices? And then it says, hi. And then hopefully it will show your company name. And then it says, my name is Mogens, I'm CEO and co-founder on Sleeknote, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of possibilities in here. In this case, we actually pull this data from Clearbit and we add it into the Sleeknote site data. So there's so many possibilities of making this really relevant and really intelligent. All right, that was some of the more like personalized use cases. Just a few more use cases regarding e-commerce. We also got quite a lot of customers using this for product recommendations. So in this case, we can show best sellers, for example, in a pop-up here. This is an online store selling flowers. So in this case, they are on a website reading about flowers, and then we want to show the best-selling flowers in a slide-in box. These are some other examples. It could be if people, in this case, they have bought a gin, then we want to show a pop-up with different kind of accessories or stuff that you'll buy together with this gin. We have a lot of customers making that in the pop-ups as well. Or in the example on the right side, we just have actually integration with some of the best product recommendation engines. So in this case, we pull that data directly from this product recommendation engine and show it in a Sleeknote pop-up. Yes, so there's a lot of possibilities here as well. And that's just how it looks like in the backend when you set it up. More inspiration on how to use this within or outside opening hours. It's another great example of how to use pop-ups. If you want to get in touch with the visitors on your website, you can schedule the message in your pop-up. So for example, if it's within opening hours, you can have one says, talk to an expert now, need help picking the right equipment. Our team of experts are ready to help you. Just give them a call, and then there's the number. Then if it's outside opening hours, you can have another one. Do you need expert help? And then you can enter the phone number and write a message and give me a call. This is very easy to set up. As you can see here, we have this repeating kind of setup where you can say, okay, I want to show this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from this time to this time, and then it's just repeating every week. So that's a pretty simple thing to do. Scheduling also very used to campaigns. If, for example, Black Friday, you want to show this specific campaign each day in the Black Week up to Black Friday, then you can also do some, instead of repeating periods, you can do just some fixed scheduling. Another great use case is surveys. I especially love this when people have ordered on your online store, they have made an order, then ask them, how did you hear about us? And was it a good shopping experience? And I especially like the last one, any specific areas we can improve. So actually, we ask this question to every new customer in Sleeknote. We ask them, why did you choose Sleeknote? We do that both in a pop-up. We do also do it in emails afterwards. And it's just so much great information that you can use to position yourself, and then you know why you are better than your competitors, or why people choose you instead of competitors. And you can, of course, design this in lots of different ways. Another one here is to get more leads. So if you're not like pure B2C e-commerce, but you're more in the B2B space, we got quite a lot of customers using this to just get leads. So Do you want a call? Do you have any questions? Write them below and we'll get back to you with an answer as soon as possible. Name, phone number, and your question. And this can, of course, be customized. So do you want a customized offer, name, email, and then send it here? So there's a lot of possibilities here to really get a lot of value out of slide-ins and pop-ups here in general. And then the last thing I want to emphasize is to customize the design. So as I mentioned before, if you have an image on your pop-ups, you'll probably see around 80% higher conversions. And an image is not just an image. You can really be creative here and customizing this as you want. And this is actually one of the main reasons why customers choose or companies choose Sleeknote, is because our pop-up builder, you are almost able to do whatever you want. So if you have a designer who really wants this to look fantastic on your website in your colors, then you can kind of build it like you want. And if it's hard for you to do, you can always just send that design to us and we will set it up for free. So without any extra kind of costs. So that was the last input here. Then I will just give you a quick offer in the end. And also, of course, I hope there's some questions. But if you want to try Sleeknote for free for 1 month, then you can just send me an email. We will actually also set up the first 3 campaigns or pop-ups together with you, also for free. So if you're curious about pop-ups and what it can do for you, then email me and I would love to help. And then I hope I've tried to do it a bit fast here, so I hope we have a bit time left for some questions as well. But I'll just go out of my presentation here and see if I can stop sharing and then see if there's anything in the chat or any questions.
Yeah, guys, so please feel free to post your questions into chat or Q&A section. In the meantime, I do have a couple of questions from my end because I was looking into this presentation. Maybe if you don't mind, go back sharing your slides with your contact information, with your email address, just in case. So everyone can use that. Keep in mind that's also will be distributed to quite a big of database.
No problem. No problem.
So be ready. So the first question that I have from my end. So you mentioned about 8 seconds as a timeline for the pop-up. You mentioned on the pop-up, based on the time, 8 seconds is the best time. Do you mean 8 seconds on the certain page, or 8 seconds of the client, visitor being on your website?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, the data that we have here is across the website. So that's just the place we see with highest conversions in general. But remember, this is on average across all customers. So if we pull this data out and see what's the best conversions on a specific page, then it will definitely be around the same. And I would often recommend not just to have one pop-up to all visitors shown after 8 seconds. I would rather have 20 different pop-ups, but then it's customized to visitors with this behavior. For example, if they have this amount in the basket, and then another one customized if they visit this page or have done this, taken this action, or come from this traffic source, for example. So instead of looking at pop-ups like you have one to everyone, then look at pop-ups like you show a personalized message to visitors depending on where they are and where they came from. And then in Sleeknote, you are able to say, well, let's say you have 20 different pop-ups and you think maybe it's a bit hard to figure out, okay, am I now showing 5 pop-ups to the same visitor? You are able in Sleeknote to say, well, I will only show 1 pop-up to each visitor. So that you kind of make sure you don't disturb people too much. And then you can also set an order of the pop-ups. So say, well, this is the most important one for me, so show that first. And this is the next important one and the third one. So you can completely customize that setup so that you don't get in a situation where you actually end up annoying or disturbing the visitor's user experience.
Okay, thank you. The next question from Benny. He saw hello retail in one of your slides.
Mhm.
Do you use data from them also?
Yes, we actually integrate with Hello Retail. So we got quite a lot of customers using both Sleeknote and Hello Retail, and then they show these Hello Retail. For those who don't know it, Hello Retail is a tool that provides product recommendations among other things. So it could be these if you visitors that saw this also bought this. So it makes a lot of sense to show these kind of product recommendation in pop-ups because with the pop-ups we can trigger it to show at the right time, and then we have a directly API integration with Hello Retail, so we can show relevant products in that case.
But I am, as a retailer, as a merchant, I supposed to have an account with you guys and then fill it with Hello Retail. So my product feed should go into Hello Retail first, and then you pick up the information from them, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly, and we
Okay.
have these integrations with other
Right.
providers as well. But yes,
Understood.
if you are a Hello Retail customer already,
Hmm.
then you can feed that into Sleeknote and then trigger it at
Gotcha.
whatever time you want, and
Hmm.
yeah,
Gotcha.
when ready.
Gotcha. There was a question about double opt-in. How do you guys kind of handle this?
Yes, the double opt-in. Actually, what we do when people set up the pop-ups in Sleeknote, you choose what kind of email provider you have, and then when you do that, for example, Mailchimp or ActiveCampaign, then you have a check mark if you want go into this double opt-in process, or if you want to omit that in this case. So you can actually choose whether or not you would like that to happen within Sleeknote as well.
Okay. Okay. Leslie asking, I mean, obviously, a lot of business owners those days, they're really trying to be as effective on Google as possible. So Google starting to, this was the new algorithm, Google Core Vital, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So how would the Slick Note in that case will slow down, or I mean, not even slow down, but maybe how do you think like this will affect the page speed score, this Google Core score?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's correct that Google, I think it's maybe a few years ago actually, they updated the algorithm where they said that if you show pop-ups or these overlays right away, it could affect the score or your rankings in Google. So because of that, we actually in a I think it was only on mobile actually, but in a period after that, we implemented so that it was not possible in Sleeknote to show a pop-up right away. So you had to have this kind of teaser before, and then you could click on that, and then it will show up. Because Google didn't have any problem with pop-ups. It was just not about. It was not allowed to show, without the user taking any action before.
Mhm.
But actually, what we found out is that we did quite a lot of tests, and we saw a lot of other people, websites that did test about this, and no one has been able to see any decrease in rankings when they show pop-ups.
Mhm.
So there's actually been some quite scientifically tests where they have like really looking into this. So because of that, we opened up again because so many of our customers asked us to change this. So now, if you want to, you can show a pop-up right away. As I remember, we have a little warning in our platform that if you choose that setting, we will show that Google don't recommend you to do this. But you can still do it if you want to. So I would say in general, I won't be afraid of it. I haven't seen any examples where it has actually had a negative effect on rankings.
Mhm. Mhm.
But of course, I can't say how it will be in the future. I can just say that our platform supports that if you don't want to show it right away, you can just show a teaser to begin with, so the user can take the action themselves.
All right. So Leslie telling us just like she's seeing some like negative impact for the pop-ups, but I sent her my email. You never know if it's about the pop-ups or maybe something happened with the page, etc. So, if Leslie, if you can just send over like even like a private email to me and Morgan's, and then I will be checking for you. View stuff that I think I really want you to cover. maybe you mentioned this something on the presentation, but maybe I was not you know clear enough. So A/B testing, right?
Yeah.
I know from my perspective, I know like Sleeknote does A/B testing. I know because I'm using that, but maybe you can cover a little bit. How do you guys do that?
Yeah, sure. A/B testing is a great tool. And for those who are not into it yet, I don't know what it is, then it's a matter of showing if it's two different variants, to show two different variants to visitors. So, for example, 50% of your visitors will see one message or one pop up with a specific image, and the other 50% will see another message. And then you will see in the end which one of these converts best, or which one of these get most leads. And doing those kind of A/B tests is fantastic. I would say we always do it on our own websites with all our Sleeknote campaigns. And how it works is that you just create two different Sleeknote campaigns within our platform. Then you go into our A/B testing page and you select which campaigns you want to test up against each other. So it's quite simple, and you can test whatever you want. So some of our customers, they test the like intrusiveness. So some of them test, if I show this after 3 seconds compared to showing it after, I don't know, scrolling down 50%, how does that convert, or how does that affect conversions? So that's just one thing. Another thing is quite obvious is showing the content. So for example, the headline in the pop-ups or the offering. We want to show to promote a guide compared to showing a discount. So if you get the same amount of leads, it's you don't need to necessarily give them a discount if you get the same amount of leads and the same amount of sales. So there's so many interesting things you can do A/B testing on, and of course we support that in Sleeknote. So yeah, and then the last thing regarding that I want to mention is that we have made something pretty recently that we call smart triggering. This means that when you create a pop-up, instead of just choosing, I want to show this after X amount of seconds or after exit intent or whatever it might be, you can select smart triggering. And then we actually test out a lot of different things. And then we have a machine learning algorithm where we figure out what works the best. And then we regularly test that up against something new. And we see, what is the winner here. And then we show that to most of the visitors. So this is a pretty neat feature that we have that will kind of make sure you always show these pop-ups at the best optimal time for the specific visitors. So yeah,
Okay.
that was a bit about A/B testing.
Next question here. Did you get a chance to test like a different conversion rates with direct pop-up on the page when the pop-ups like flies right away? Well, not right away, but based on the specific schedule versus a situation when they're supposed to click on the image to get the pop-up. Like, is there any
Maybe
difference?
I will see if I can read the question as well. I'm
Yeah.
insecure
It should
about.
be in the chat.
Oh, it's down where isn't it here? Q&A. Answer. Maybe I just cannot open it. Can you say it one more time?
Have you tested on the conversion rates on a
Mhm.
direct pop-up on page or
Mhm.
a bar pop-up that you need to click open? Hope this makes sense.
Okay, so a bar and compared to a pop-up, yeah, that makes
Mhm.
sense. Yes, yeah, we have tested that. Again, it's I think it's very different where what the conversion is if you have different messages. But I will say in general, the bars, so the sticky bars, for example, the bottom or in the top, they convert quite well. Mainly because they are kind of it's in the word, but sticky. So they are shown all the time. Where a pop-up, it's mainly just shown one time and then it kind of disappears. So, but the bars can also be a bit annoying if they are on the screen all the time. It takes up quite a lot of space. So oftentimes we see good conversions on these bars. Actually, what most of our customers are using them for is not to get leads, but it's more to inform about something. A lot of our customers used it when COVID-19 was at its highest, where people didn't know if the online store actually still sold any products, or if they were closed down because of COVID-19. So messages like that, where you have an urgent information to all your visitors, that is when these bars are really good, at least in my perspective. Um, uh, they also work in collecting leads, but it's just, takes a lot of space to show that all the time just to get permissions. Um, but I'll say on conversions, we don't see a big difference whether you're showing a sticky bar or a pop-up. They convert pretty well, both of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the next question that I really want to ask you, so our attendees will know. From what I remember, as of today, Sleeknote, you can connect your Sleeknote account with some specific email marketing tools. From
Mhm.
what I remember, and again from what I see, those days on e-commerce business specifically, a lot of people utilize Mailchimp
Mhm.
or Klaviyo.
Yeah,
Could you share a little bit about your like your integrations with the tools like that? I mean, what do you
sure.
support as of now?
Sure, sure. Well, those two tools that you mentioned, we support. So it's actually pretty simple to set up. I'll see now. I share my screen already, so maybe I should just try and jump into the platform. You can see it on 1 second. I can try and log in here, create a campaign, and sorry, jump into the editor. We enter the domain. And you also can see a bit of the product here. Collect email addresses. We say it should be pop-up template. Continue. All right, then I'll see if I can jump to the integration step right away. Should be possible. All right. So in here you can see that we have integrations with MageCloud, as you mentioned. We also have with Klaviyo. Um, so how it works, it's a bit different from integration to integration, how it works exactly. But in this case, you just enter your API key that you find within Klaviyo. And if you are not sure how to find that, there is an article here you can click on, and then we have a guide on where you find it. And then when you have entered this, then afterwards you can go into selecting which list you want to integrate, or put these permissions to on all these
Mm-hmm.
email addresses, and then you just map the fields afterwards. So you say, well, the field in my pop-up that says name, I want to map that to the field over in Klaviyo that says name. Great. And the same with email and gender or whatever you ask for, just so that we are completely sure that we map it to the right fields in your Klaviyo integration. So that's pretty simple, and it's kind of the same. The same it goes for, I can see here Mailchimp. It's also the API key,
Mm-hmm.
Active Campaign. Yeah, all these platforms, and even if we don't have a direct integration with whatever platform you're using, we have something that we call custom integration and basic authentication. So with these, we can almost always get it to work, even though we haven't built an API integration yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if anyone there is sitting and their email provider is not on the list, just reach out to us, and we
Mm-hmm.
can probably get it working. Because it's often we have a page that we can submit this to, and then it will get to your
Mm-hmm.
email provider.
Okay, gotcha. The question that I have specifically maybe about this Google Tag Manager.
Hmm.
So very often on your pop-ups, you mentioned that the pop-up will react on the user behavior, depends on which products will be added to the cart.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, again, this is just for me, sorry about this, guys. So technically, I should be using the data layer, and the Sleeknote will read the data from data layer on the
Yeah.
page automatically.
Yeah, exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
okay.
That is something that you set up in this we call Sleeknote site data.
Uh-huh.
So if the information is in the data layer, we are able to we can set this up so that we look at the information in the data layer, and then
Uh-huh.
we actually trigger the campaigns based on that. Um, so that is the, I think, the beauty about this site data
Mm-hmm.
thing is that often you have so much information in that data layer, and we
Yeah.
actually just updated it so that before we could trigger a campaign after a page load or a page view. So let's say you're on a page, you add something to the basket and you want to show a message. Then, like 2 weeks ago, we could show that information when you have made a new page view, because then we kind of submit the data, so to say. But actually, right now, we can send it right away. So at the moment you add something to the basket, or something is updated in the data layer, we can right away trigger a Sleeknote campaign, even though you haven't made a new page load or page view.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, I think this is really a great part or a good help in how to make these pop-ups more personalized. And if people want to set it up, and sometimes it is a bit hard with this Google Tag Manager to figure out how it all works, you can just reach out to me and our people. We are,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like we are experts in Google Tag Manager, but we know quite a lot about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just set it up for you, actually.
Yeah, and probably just worth to mention, to integrate Sleeknote into your website in general, you just have to add one more tag in the Google Tag Manager, or embed well, I mean, it's not single line, but like one part, like one piece of the code into
Yeah,
the website, into the head, and that's pretty much it. So it's like
exactly.
it's you don't have to install any extension or modules or plugins. It's just the kind of just copy paste the way how you normally connect like Google Analytics, or the way how you embed YouTube on your website, right?
Exactly.
So it's pretty easy. The last one that I really want to ask you about, you mentioned just on it's less about e-commerce, it's more about lead gen.
Mhm.
So on your personal website, on the Sleeknote site, you mentioned that you're using a tool called Clearbit,
Yes.
right? So, which, from what I understand, Clearbit will just generate you like will kind of try to guess the company name
Yeah.
based on, like, if I will visit your website, it probably guess it's MageCloud and show me like the pop-up with the MageCloud as a name.
Yes.
Um, I'm not a customer of the Clearbit, but is there any way to connect it, let's say, with something like Albacross, or because I have, for example, Albacross on my website.
Mhm.
Is it possible to pull information from there somehow?
Oh, that's a good question. Just to show the example here, now it's in Danish because I am in Denmark. Probably it will be in English if you visited, but in this case, the company right beside us is called Pixels.
Uh-huh.
So that's why they showed here. So it's not 100% accurate, especially not when more businesses are on the same IP address.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yes, it's completely correct that this is pulling data from Clearbit, and it was actually just an example to show that we are
Mhm.
able to pull data within. I think the reason the way we did this was actually to take the data from Clearbit, uh, take it to Google Tag Manager, and then from Tag Manager take it further to Sleeknote and integrate it in this campaign. So
Uh-huh.
if the data you just mentioned, or the software, what's it
Mhm.
called,
Mhm.
Albacross,
Albacross. Uh-huh.
if you are somehow able to get that within a Google Tag Manager or
Okay, gotcha.
Zapier, we also have integrations with Zapier. So if you can somehow pull it in there, then we can place it in a Sleeknote campaign.
Gotcha. Let me talk to you about this, like on a private basis, because I'm
Yeah.
trying. Yeah, I apologize, guys. Yeah, so let's see, like the last question that I can see here. Are you planning to add inline pop-ups so the
Mhm.
pop-up is integrated into the content of a page so it seems more native for the visitor? For example, at the cart page of an e-commerce store.
Yes, fantastic. That's a really great question, and I'm actually happy that that someone asked it here, because we are right now building that feature. So we actually expect to release this within the next month. These inline campaigns. It's been one of the biggest thing from our competitors, one of the biggest feature requests, that you can build these inline Sleeknote campaigns. So you won't call them pop-ups because they won't become pop-ups, but it's actually just content that you can kind of place wherever you want, and then you can use the whole rule engine within Sleeknote to say, show this based on IP address, or show it based on, geo targeting, if the visitors from this city, or if they have this amount in the basket, or whatever it is. And then, personally, I'm really excited about this feature, because then Sleeknote is not just a pop-up tool anymore, but then it's actually a conversion optimization, really powerful tool to personalized content on your website. So great question, and we expect to release this within the next month, actually.
Cool. Well, I mean, it was great conversation, I think. Let me see if there's any other questions. I don't think so. So then probably I have to say thank you for everyone who were online, who listening till the end. Thank you for being with us. Thank you so much, Morgans, for your tips and tricks. Really pleasure, and hope to see you next time on next webinars as soon as the new feature come out. Once again, just for everyone's, the video will be converted, will be published as well on the blog. I will send over an email as well to everyone's. And yeah, I will, guys, see you soon on our next webinars, and hope to bring other guests as well. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Bye bye.